Hi folks, how are we all doing? I hope you're all surviving COVID-19 and lockdown. Everyone's safe and healthy. Just first of all, before I go on, just over a week ago my channel hit over 200 subscribers, so I just want to say a quick thank you to all of my subscribers and all of the lovely some of you made some great comments. I haven't had time to reply to all of them, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And for anyone that's new to this channel, if you're liking these videos or you find them helpful or at least entertaining, you know, give us a subscription and you'll get updates as to when I do new videos, and have a chat in the comments with me. Now, what better way to get through the boredom of lockdown and COVID-19 than with another update from Reza Studios, who have just updated Ultima Ballista 2 with version 1.1.2.0, and it is brilliant. There's so much in it. There are AI updates, physics updates, there are track updates, there are FFB updates, and there are 3 new cars and a new track. There's so much, I can't fit it all into one video without the video being about 24 hours in length. So I'm just going to concentrate on one thing because I have been so looking forward to that, and that is this, the Chevrolet Omega stock car 1999. Now, I've seen a lot of people on the forums who have been looking at this car and kind of wondering what it is. Those of us in the UK, if you take a close look at this car, those of us in the UK will know this car as the Vauxhall Carlton. That's right, because GM owned, I think, Chevrolet, Vauxhall, and this is a point I'll be coming to a bit later, Lotus at the time, and so this, and Opel as well, the German manufacturer. And so this is what I know this car as, and basically it was their big executive range car, big long wheelbase, comfy car for executives that need to travel the country. That's kind of how it was marketed. Its competition would have been things like the Ford Scorpio, things like that. They had another car in the range, Vauxhall as well, the Senator, which was quite simple, but quite similar. But it was the Carlton that, growing up, I really loved, because as GM owned Lotus and Vauxhall at the time, they decided to give the car to Lotus, and Lotus tinkered with it and made this thing do 177 miles per hour, get to 0 to 60 within 5.2 seconds, whacked a couple of turbos onto that big V6, up the power as well, up the litres, and made it a rocket ship. Let's, whilst we're talking, let's get in and drive the thing. It caused so much uproar. The police weren't very keen on it because a bunch of naughty people stole one and then decided to go on a spree of ram raiding outings, and the police could not catch this car in their little metros at all, because you got a big family car that you can fit, you know, including the driver, 5 thugs in and their bag of naughty stuff to unlock doors and whatever in the boot, you know, but it had supercar power. This car is, obviously, it's not the Vauxhall Lotus Carlton. It does not have a limited slip differential. I think it's an open diff on this one. And after doing a bit of testing with it, it doesn't do 177. It does do, it does about 150. But the 0 to 60, I think it gets there quicker than the Carlton. But obviously this comes from a Brazilian series. Now, if you're wondering why I'm here at Interlagos in the rain, well, it's a Brazilian stock car. They raced Interlagos, so I thought Interlagos. But also, after some testing, I found this car to have very predictable handling, and it's sort of quite weighty and quite planted. So I thought it would be quite good in the rain, and it is. So I've decided to come out here in the rain. Now, when I was growing up, there was a person in the village where my school was who was quite wealthy, and they owned one of these, but the Lotus Carlton version, and they used to come and pick up their kids from the school in it, and I absolutely adored this car. I used to stand there and stare at it. It was all in black as well, which is why I've chosen the black and green livery on this one. I once saw one take off from a side road in Canterbury as well. Oh, just changed out in a second. Don't want to do that. And it was gone within seconds. They were so fast. Now, this version, I've been driving it around and it's loads of fun. It hasn't got that limited slip differential, so it's not the kind of sideways monster that the Lotus Carlton was, if you wanted it to be, with its limited slip differential. But it does have a lot of power and a lot of torque, you know, well over 350 horsepower. So you can get that back end out if you want to. See what I mean? You know, but you'll find the difference between this and, or if there was a limited slip differential, when you try and do a donut, you get about 3/4 of the way around, and then you get kind of a one-wheel spin thing going on. But it is fast. It is quite predictable. Most of the weight is concentrated up the front there with that big straight 6 engine. So you do get mid-corner understeer. You know, the front of the car just kind of wants to keep going. But it's also reasonably well balanced. So you can sort of, if you want to try and trail brake it a bit, you can do that up to a point. You can initiate a bit of trail braking, but then the front end sort of takes over and it keeps it balanced. You're not going to get a lot of lift off oversteer from this, or the back end stepping out a lot under braking, although I haven't played with the setups yet. So I'm sure with a... Oh! Nearly... Sorry, mate. Watch my braking there. So yeah, I'm sure with a bit of setup, playing with the setup a bit, you could possibly change that. Maybe with a few suspension adjustments and brake bias adjustments. This car doesn't have on-board brake bias adjustments, so you can't do that on the fly. So it's definitely something you want to do through setups. Now I've just changed down a second there, and I deliberately left my foot down the clutch till I got the revs up again, because you really don't want to be changing down a second. In first and second gear, this car, this particular version of it, is a rocket ship. It accelerates so fast. So once you've, you know, got off the line, you're going to want to be staying in third gear and above after that. First and second, you won't need, and it's got plenty of torque for you in third and fourth. Fifth gear in this car will take you from about 130 to 100. Oh, locking up there. Let's just use the tarmac here. No, we're going to go on the grass. Fifth gear will take you from about 130 to its full potential, which is about 150. But it gets you there a lot slower. It sort of runs out of puff a bit there. Third and fourth. Third's great. Fourth is pretty good, but starting to slow down a bit. It's a fun car. There's enough room margin for error, you know, in a car like this, to be able to have fun with it. But it's safe enough that you're not going to go careering off the track, you know, too badly under braking. Or with that open differential, you know, it lets the power be coped with quite easily. Now, this is going to lead, you know, I'm talking about the differences between this and the Lotus Carlton a lot, because I have a request. Reza, if I hadn't already bought the season pass, I would happily pay you quite a bit of money just for one standalone car. Now that you've got this, I don't know how it's gonna, if it would work with licensing. I know you're planning on releasing a DLC road car pack, but I would absolutely adore you if you released the road going version of this car, or the Vauxhall or Lotus version of this car, the Vauxhall Lotus Carlton or Lotus Carlton. I would absolutely love that, with its limited slip differential, its 176 mile an hour capable. Do you know the Vauxhall VXR that was brought out many years later? This car can still keep up with that even today. Or the Lotus Carlton. But yes, I would absolutely love that in this sim. The sim, by the way, is just getting better and better. The improvements to the force feedback, fantastic. The self-aligning torque is much better. Some of the spikes and peaks that were there when you were opposite lock in counter steering, or the steering wheel was loading up, and seem to have leveled out a lot more. The new cars, the Group C, the Spa Track, absolutely fantastic. And this car, I just think it's going to make for some really good close racing. I will say one thing I've found: the AI with this car are pretty slow. In the dry, usually, say if I was in one of the GT4s, GT3s, one of the Porsches, or probably the Copas, I would be, or the new Ginettas, I'd be having decent competition from the AI at about 100% on the skill level. With these, to get a decent race in the dry, I've had to knock that up to 115. So they're about 15% slower than the rest of the other cars. Now I know when Reza release new cars, sometimes they'll do an AI update later. So I'd love to see that. But back to the car. It really does feel like a big, heavy, long wheelbase saloon car. You know, the weight, the engine inertia, I've just dropped down a second there, shouldn't have done that. It all feels right, really does. I mean, I've never driven the Chevrolet Amiga stock car. I never drove, or never got to drive, a Vauxhall Lotus Carlton. They're quite rare. But I did get to drive the Vauxhall Amiga, which was basically the same thing but a later model with a different body. And it did feel, from what I remember of it, very weighty, very planted, very predictable. You know, and this has got that feeling. Obviously this is a lot more powerful than the road-going Vauxhall Amiga I tried. And it's a good car for tracks like this. You know, it's got the speed. You're not going to achieve that full 150 miles an hour here at Interlagos with this car, even in the dry, because you run out of straight. But you can achieve it on that long straight of the Nordschleife. Let's see if we can play with the back end a little bit. In fact, I'll tell you what, there's a big bit of runoff area just here. I'm going to use that just to demonstrate. Is that tarmac? Yes. I'm going to use that. No, that's not tarmac, is it? Let's get on the tarmac. I'm going to use this to demonstrate the back differential. So, in first gear, slam down the power and round it goes. But you can hear there, if I was doing this in the dry, we'd get one circle round, then it would lose it, and then it would come back. That's that kind of open differential. I really should have done that in the dry to show you, because in the wet it's just all too easy to get the back end out. But let's see if we can just have some fun with this car. I'd say, there we go. We've got plenty of lock available. I think the default lock on this car, I'm going to try second, even though just for this. There we go. Yes, get that back end round. Lost it there a little bit. There we go. Yeah, the default steering lock available in this car, I think, is is about 26, 28 degrees, I'm sure you can probably put that up a little bit. So you got quite a lot of steering lock available. Obviously this car isn't set up for that. It's set up for racing, but you still have plenty of fun with that back end, with all of that horsepower. And braking, well, the brakes aren't bad, but you need quite a bit of stopping distance for this car. I haven't tried this in the wet, actually. I've tried stopping in the dry. Let's see. I'm going to brake there just before the 100-foot sign. Yeah. 100 feet from whatever speed we were doing there. I wasn't actually looking. I love it. It's brilliant. Let's it's really stripped down, this car. You look at the interior and it's definitely a stock car, isn't it? There's nothing in there but a roll cage. Let's return to the pit box. I was saying about the AI being slow earlier, but as you'll see, you know, I haven't even qualified. Because the AI with this car aren't too bad in the rain. Right, and also I'm not trying, I'm just mucking about. What do we want to do here? We want to skip to the end. Let's just see what a race in the wet with these things is like. Plenty of wheel spin from the get-go. They're hard to get it off the line. Wheel spin in second. Little bit twitchy in third. And fourth we've settled down. Okay, they're all braking early. I'm going to brake early. Yeah, it is good in the wet. Obviously, I'm going a lot slower than I would in the dry because it's wet. But it's a good car in the wet. I'd say that because I had a question asked or a question that I replied to on the Facebook page earlier during the week. Someone was asking for a good combination of car and track for a beginner to try, and I suggested the Ginetta G40 Cup because it's reasonably safe. It's not too fast, so you're not going to get into too much of a race-ending prang with it, hopefully. You know, it's not too oversteery, understeery, it's quite well balanced. This car's like that, only faster. So I'd say it would be a good next step from someone who was looking to race tin tops. It'd be a good progression from, say, the Ginetta to this because of its predictable handling. And because it's got enough horsepower to give you a lot of fun, but not try and kill you, you know. And the braking as well is very it's stable under braking. Like I say, you won't get a lot of lift off oversteer. The main thing you're going to get is a bit of mid-corner understeer from all the weight being up the front there with that straight six. The Lotus Carlton, by the way, what Lotus did with that, they took the 3 litre straight six, turned it into a 3.6 litre straight six and whacked a couple of turbos on there. I can't remember what turbos they were. I have completely outbraked myself and I've locked up. How embarrassing. The locking up feeling, by the way, when you lock up your brakes has got better through the force feedback. It's one of the improvements. And the AI is much better as well, in general. But that's for another video. We've got the white one there having a look down our inside. So yeah, they whacked a couple of turbos on it. They did a bit of reboring, changed piston rods, all that sort of thing. Fitted it with the limited slip differential. Played with the suspension a bit to make it more balanced at high speed. Stuck great big 17-inch wheels on it. That's one of the things with this car as well. This car has got huge fat tyres like the Lotus Carlton, and they handle the power nicely. You know, if it was on much slimmer tyres, it really would be more of a handful. But so that's what they did with the Lotus. Also, they fitted it with a Chevrolet gearbox from the Corvette ZR1 to take that power. And like I said, it was just an absolutely amazing car. You know, fit 5 people in it, and then probably the suitcases, small suitcases for all of them to go on holiday, and then get there at 177 miles per hour. Unbelievable. This car, this Chevrolet version, has a big body kit, much wider wheel arches, as it's not exactly the same as the Lotus Carlton, but that also had the big flared body kit. Oh, brakes don't, I'll lock it up again. Just scrubbing a bit, not exactly looking. I'll change down to 3rd, 2nd, I mean, don't do that. See, I can play with it on the limiter grip in the rain there, and it's a bit wallowy, you know. There's plenty of margin for error. Definitely a lot of fun. Now, how close this is to how the real Chevrolet Omega stock car drives, I don't know. I've never driven one, never been to Brazil, but as you know, taking it for just what it is, it's a lot of fun. Oh, it's slowing right down to below 40 miles an hour there. I can take that corner a bit faster, but the AI are going a bit slower around there. Can I make a place? I have to say, Rees are just doing an absolutely incredible job on the sim. You know, we've now got the option to add more multi-class, up to 10 different classes of vehicle with this new update, and the AI are much better at multi-class racing. I've done it again. Why don't I listen to my own advice? Don't change into the 2nd after you've started off the line. Forget about 2nd. The FFB feels better, and there have been physics updates as well to some of the tyre carcasses, some of the tyre treads. The little Formula Reza trainer car, that feels a lot better now, and I've locked up again at that corner. It's all too easy to do that. Oh, come on! You got to give this car a try in the rain. It's, you know, it's a lot of fun. I'm out braking myself again. There have been updates to little bits of the UI, for instance, now under your AI screen where you're choosing their skill level. It gives you little help text where it tells you what each thing does, which is quite nice, because when you're choosing your opponent's skill level, I was never sure about this, but now I know for sure. It actually tells you that you can, obviously that's for setting your skill level, but it also tells you that above 80%, the AI do start using their own individual setups for different tracks. And I never knew whether they did that or not, so it's nice to know that they do. Also, talking to the rain, there have been updates to the way the grip falls off the slick tyres as it starts to rain. So basically now they won't completely use all adhesion and become like casters when it gets really wet. There's also a new extreme tyre for some of the GT1s, which I have not tried out yet. So I'm looking forward to trying all of this. And I'm braking much earlier this time. I've learned my lesson with that corner now. He says, going onto the grass. So let's just cut the track and catch up with these. It's an AI race, it doesn't matter. Yes, I know. I think this has got one of the best track limits penalty systems I've ever tried in this sim. It really is good. I won't go into it now, but I just want to try and catch up with one of these before we finish. There's that back end. So this corner here, we're going to brake. Getting a bit of mid-corner understeer. Counter that with some power through the back end. Yes! And we've caught up. Whoa! I think I can catch them a little bit more through this corner here. You may have noticed I'm having quite a lot of fun in this video. This is my little celebration. I am having fun. This is my little celebration for getting 200 plus subscribers now. And it's all courtesy of Reza for bringing out this fantastic car. So yes, I am just kind of self-indulgently enjoying myself at the moment. And we're catching. Yes. The Carlton, the Omega, whatever you want to call it, in its standard form did look a bit, you know, fuddy-duddy, but when the Lotus version came out, they stuck that body kit on it. It was, you know, it was very much more sort of Holden-esque, which this car did inherit. It did inherit the larger differential from the Holden version at some point, I think. But yeah, when they put the body kit on it, oh, really, it really gave it something. And this version, this is a different car to the Lotus Carlton, but as a car in its own right, it is what it is, and I love it. This is really good fun. I just hope they can sort out the AI a bit, and like I said, I really would be so happy if we could have the road going version of the Vauxhall Lotus Carlton. Oh my god, would I have a lot of fun with that. Super fast, sideways monster, and fast on the track as well for a road car. You know, everyone, when we were kids growing up, we had posters on our walls of Ferraris and Porsches, and this thing could outrun them. Oh, I have locked it. The feeling through the FFB now, when you lock up those front tyres, so much better. It goes really light. I'm going to get a penalty now, aren't I? Or another warning. Oh, no, it didn't, because I've lost time. That's what I love about this penalty system. It knows when you've kind of lost time and you have come off for an accident. It really does seem to know when you're cutting the track in such a way that you're gaining time, or when you just had an off. I love that about this system. And the fact that if you make a place when you do something like that, it will tell you to, rather than just slow down, it will tell you to, you know, give that place back within a certain amount of time, which is, you know, what what you'd hope to see in real racing. It's just brilliant. Come on, can we make one place? Right. Okay. Come on! Oh, put down too much power. Spun up those back wheels. Oh, brake too late. Oh, just giving him a touch. But we made a place with 1 minute 30 seconds to go of this little 15-minute race. I was saying earlier this car is a bit wallowy. It's got a fair amount of body roll to it, which I would see in videos of the old Lotus Carlton. I'm sure these don't actually have the same as suspension assemblies, but it's big and heavy, so it's got that wallowy body roll to it. Not too much, but a reasonable amount of it. And I can't see a thing. Braking really early, well before the 100 sign, 100-foot sign. Right, how much power can I get down around this corner? Quite a bit of it safely, you know, so it's not killed me. Quite a different story if I was trying to do that with the traction control off in, say, the McLaren GT3. You know, it would hold the road better, but if you gave it a good stab of power, you'd know about it pretty quickly because it's got enough of it to kill you. Can I make one more place before the end? Can I do it? Oh no! Cadence brake! Just touched the back end of that car there. It's an AI race, it's not real people, it's okay. And it's, you know, full-bodied stock cars, so, you know, a little bit of contact here and there, like touring cars, isn't it? Come on, get that power down! Even in third there, it's spinning up those wheels. We've made 2 places really, really wet now. The track is getting absolutely saturated. That's another thing as well. They have updated the live track technology. So now the rain will wash away the rubber. There are presets coming as well, so you'll be able to use a preset like you can do in, say, R-Factor 2. About how much rubber you want the track to start off with, where you want to start off with a green track, a rubbered in track, saturated track, whatever. That was very, very enjoyable. Really enjoyed that. Really enjoying this car and looking forward to trying out the Group. I have tried out the Group C's. Oh my God. They're amazing. They're so fast. But I am loving this car. Reza, thank you so much for bringing you know, it's not exactly the car from my childhood that I just, you know, drooled over, but it's pretty damn close to it. Thank you so much that I get to drive this car in the sim. Would love it if you could replicate the Lotus Carlton, really would. But for all you're doing and for all you've done, thank you so much. Automobilista 2 is just, every update, it's just leaps and bounds, it really is. And like I said, I would recommend this car to anyone looking for a reasonably safe, predictable, longer wheelbase progression from, say, something like the little Ginettas. You know, you've got a bit more horsepower with this, a lot more speed. And like I said, you know, on most tracks, after you've got through first and second, you won't be using them again. I mean, even if you're going really slowly, you've got so much. That's in third, and look how much torque it's got, you know. I know we're in the wet, but yeah, it's a really, really talky car. And once again, to all my subscribers, thank you everyone. I love making these videos. It keeps me sane in these mad times. Gives me something to focus on. And thank you, Reza, for just being awesome. I'll park up just here. That's not my pit box, but that will do. Cheers.